Reframing dual pricing. It is always a matter of perspective. Okay, we are live on YouTube. One day we won't have to go through that. Can you imagine people go, do you remember when you had to set up your Zoom streams? And um, now it'll be all automated. Someone's going to make it more easy because as much as it's pretty simple, there's still a little inefficiency there, right? Anyway, David Rutz here, David Allen Capital. Excited to be with you for our daily Zoom. Today, I've got some pro tips on payment processing. This is just reframing, and which was what a lot of what we do is. It's perspective management is business ownership. You know, um, it's being able to batten down the hatches when you're in a storm and understand your boat is seaworthy enough that you're a captain and you can deal with it. Early on in business, that's hard for people. Early on in business, it doesn't take much to get someone to, want to sink their ship. And because there's an expectation everything's going to go great, and then it doesn't go great, and then it's like, oh man, do I want to endure? And so you're all independent business owners with us. With dual pricing, it's more competitive. It is a more competitive space than our business funding because there's a lot more agents. Now, when you're talking about warm market, that doesn't matter, does it? If your grandson became if you're a grandparent and your grandson became a real estate agent today and was really going for it and dedicated and doing everything they could, and you were selling your home, you'd probably use your grandson because of warm market, or your neighbor, or your son, or your father, etc. So warm market is your competitive advantage. Let's not forget that. But if you don't talk to your warm market, you're not taking advantage of that competitive advantage. Now, beyond that, it's who can give the perspective to the business owner that maybe they don't have yet. So if you can look at yourself as a person of influence, as a person who can project a perspective that causes action that maybe that business owner doesn't already have. So with our funding, we say, hey, think about some ideas. What could you do to drive your business if we gave you 40 grand or 50 grand? What ideas do you have? Hmm. It gets them thinking because right now they don't have that money. They don't even think about ideas of how to double their sales or triple their sales. So we seed the idea, right? Well, it's the same thing with payment processing is how do you reframe or help them have a new frame that's playing in their mind because that's what leadership is perspective management. That's what sales is perspective management. That's what any level of influence is. And it's not steering people down the wrong path. It's encouraging they consider a path a little bit differently than maybe they are, to look at things a little bit differently, right? So I got several notes here. Write these down. These are fast. There's not slides. This is just going to be a fast little perspective. Okay. So let me throw my glasses on because I've got them in my Word document here. Um, all right. These are just quick little things, perspectives. And if you try them, some of them are going to touch people. So that's the best thing about it. Number one, you're not raising prices, you're giving discounts to your cash users. Okay. So that's price anchoring, right? Write that down. You're not raising prices, you're giving discounts to your cash users. Um, the reinvest. We talked about last week that dual pricing is like a leak in your pipe. Well, look at it as like someone stealing 3% of sales off the top line. If someone, I worked at a party store as a kid when I was in high school, and every day they'd want to count every dollar because it was not uncommon for 16-year-old cashiers and 18-year-old cashiers to take $4 or $5 out of the till when they were working because $4 or $5 back then would fill your gas tank up and you could go for the weekend, right? And that's all. And so people would take a dollar or two and not think anything of it. So we counted every penny, right? I was a little supervisor, so I remember counting we got to look at every penny in the drawer, right? Someone's taking 3% out of your drawer every purchase with dual pricing. It's called the processor. You don't need to. Okay. Equipment objection. The cost of switching. If the cost of switching is going to save you $20,000 a year, it's the best investment you ever made. So it's not a cost of transition, it's a cost of not switching. Just like in our business opportunity, it may not cost anything to join DAC, but it costs you a lot if you don't. It costs you a lot if you don't. If you don't take advantage of the opportunity, it could cost you a lot. Sorry, I got an itch in my eye. All right. So the equipment objection is it's not equipment cost, it's equipment investment that funds a lot of growth. It costs you more to not buy it, right? Um, it's like a funding solution. So if your processor was willing to invest $3,000 a month into your business debt free, would you take it? Of course. Well, if someone's doing 100,000 a month and they're paying for the processing, they could get a $3,000 investment every month by moving to dual pricing, and it's 3,000 they don't have to repay. What could you do with that 3,000? So look at it as a small investment. If one of your partners was willing to put 2 grand into your business every month, could that really help your company? So it's a funding solution, if you call it a funding solution. I already mentioned the silent thief. Customer backlash myth. This is everybody's, the biggest concern we've heard is people say my customers won't like it. Well, gas stations have been doing this for over a decade. Nobody complains. Nobody goes in and pays cash. The only people paying cash are people who don't have credit cards. And they go in. If you go in and watch what happens at a gas station, they're either buying a coffee, they're buying a snack, or they're paying $5 or 10. Can I get $10 on 17, please? Can I get $15? They don't have credit cards. They've got a little bit of cash. They're stuck on a budget. They're really struggling, right? Those are the ones who don't use cards. Otherwise, you put it on your card and you go. Very few are going in to pay cash to save that 3%. They don't even think about it. Put the card in, pay at the pump, and go. Okay. Offer a test month. This helped me a great deal with my first client. And this was back in 16 before anyone was doing this, right? Or I shouldn't say that, when we were brand new to it. And I remember saying, keep in mind, you can use it for a month. If you get too many complaints, we'll switch to standard processing. So let them know we can do that. It's a test month. Go to it. I'm telling you, it's going to be okay. But if for whatever reason you resent or regret the decision, you'll know it soon. In 30 days, you're either going to have a bunch of people pulling their hair out complaining or nobody. And I'm telling you, it's going to be nobody. But if you find different results, then we can move you over to standard processing in a second at a lower price than you're currently paying. So worst case, you've tested it, saved a bunch, and you keep going, or you've tested it, saved a little, had some complaints you didn't like, so we switch you over to regular processing. We're still going to save you money. It'll be lower than what you're currently paying, and we show you that in advance. Dual pricing will be this. Standard pricing will be this. We'll put you on dual. We can move you over to standard. Okay. Another perspective is your decline funding clients. That's a good time to move them into payment processing. It's a perspective for you. It's some people get, oh man, my client, they didn't get funded. And it's a low and it's back to that seaworthiness. No problem. Adjust your sails. And I don't mean selling technique. I mean, a sailor, what does a sailor have to do when the winds change? Adjust their sails. They don't change where they're headed. They don't go, oh, the wind's coming from there now. I guess I won't continue on my trip to that island. I guess I'll just go where the wind takes me. No, they adjust their sails to the changing climate. When a business owner doesn't get approved for funding, okay, now you can either wallow or you can swallow it, adjust your sails. Hey, no problem. Sorry we couldn't help you. In time, you will be able to. I'm sure of it. We've seen this for years. People who aren't eligible and then they become eligible. We want to help you when you are. Sorry. Remember, we have over 20 people looking at it. We don't make the decision. We just try to find you the best offer. So sorry, but we'll stay with you and we'll help you get to the point where you can. Until then, we can definitely, what are you doing in sales? You're doing 50,000. We can get you probably about $1,000 a month in funding by using dual pricing. It's about 1,000 a month could come in, about 2%, 3%, maybe even 1,500 a month, and you don't have to pay it back. It's added money that you can put toward working capital. We can get you that, like you could be set up in 2 weeks. Do you want to proceed with that while we're getting you ready for future funding? Okay. Um, I already talked about reinvestment last week, but Reinvestment can be, you can come up with 15 examples based on their business. Let me give you an example. If they are, if they sell a lot of low priced items, low product markup, have huge discounts with volume. So if you were able to take that $3,000 a month and buy more inventory with it, how much would you save on your inventory? Or if you could take that 3,000 and pay it as a sales incentive to your team, and you say, we're going to take this new 3,000 bucks a month we have and give it as a bonus to two people a month who are our top salespeople and give $1,000 checks out. How many more sales could you get from $1,000 check? That right there does more for that business owner than the, what if someone doesn't like the extra 3% fees? They're like, I'm not offering a sales bonus now. I could offer a sales bonus. This is awesome. My team would love me. Or I could buy $1,000 cruise once a month. I can give a cruise away to the top salesperson. Now it's not even $1,000. The value of that is like lifestyle, right? So these are reframing. It's not just savings. It's how do you use the savings? Or a raise to their family. How would your family feel if you were making $3,000 more a month? What could that do for your home? Because you could take that, what you're paying a processor now, and you get it at home instead of that processor getting it. Um, it's the way of the future. Netflix versus Blockbuster. It's the way of the future. Everybody's moving that way. Those who go slowest are at a competitive disadvantage. It's just like if you and I are both selling hamburgers and my beef costs 3% more than yours, you're going to make more money than me if we charge the same price. You're going to be at a competitive advantage. Your neighbors who are doing this are at a competitive advantage. You go, well, I am because I'm not adding a credit card fee to the thing. Nobody cares about that. Customers don't care. But that business owner up the street, the hamburger shop up the streets, making 3% of sales more than you are. You're only making 4% at the end of the year anyway. Now you'd be making 7. You're almost doubling your profit. They already did. They're already doing it. So it's the way of the future. It's where the market's going. Are you adapting? I already talked about funding. I'm not an inflation. Some people are afraid of inflation. This is an inflation cutter. I'm not a big um, concern about that. I talk about a pay raise. Some people, there's people who are goaltenders and there's people who are offensive and want to score goals. Some people are great goaltenders because they do not like to lose. They do not like to give up a goal. Other people want to be offense because they like to score a goal. Every personality is different, right? There's some people who love the idea of giving their family a raise. What that can do. Others don't like knowing that you gave yourself a pay cut because you're using regular processing. It's like you took a pay cut. You're taking 3% less sales. Nobody wants to give a pay cut, but you did because of your payment processing. A reverse loyalty program, going to dual pricing, cash discount. You're basically telling your clients, hey, if you're using cash, we're going to save you money. Um, and then, of course, higher return on investment, higher profit. So those are some reframes that help you understand it's not about savings. Frank, that's enough. It's not about savings. It's about, I mean, savings helps for some, but think about the cruise idea. If you said to your restaurant staff, hey, you're doing 100,000. What if I said to you, we're going to come in, you go in, you can give a cruise away once a month to the person who sells the most desserts this month, to the person who upsells the most dessert drinks, or the one who has the most appetizers, or whatever the product is, we can give away a cruise. And all you're doing is taking that 3,000 and taking 1,000, putting it into incentives every month. That's huge. All right, those are our reframing perspectives for today. What questions have you got? Those are just a handful. Get creative. Start thinking about it. Start asking owners, what would you do if you had an extra 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 a month? Come on, Frank. Come on. Sorry, my dog's not letting me be. Any questions at all from anybody? Go ahead, Brian. No.
Hey, how you doing? Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. I'm muted because my dog's barking. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. All right. Good enough. Fair enough. Good presentation. Thank you. Um, Before I get to the meat of the question, I have just a quick story here. So the other day, my woman friend and I, we were returning from an outing in Rhode Island, and she said, "Let's go get ice cream." So we drove into the ice cream stand, and I went to pay for my sorbet, and the woman gave me one price the first time, and then she gave me another price. But the other price was because I was using my debit card. And I
Yeah.
thought I remember you saying that debit cards um, can't be a part of this dual pricing, of which they definitely were doing. And I just want to know how to approach them because they're a seasonal business, so I'm not sure that I really want them as a customer. But I'll wait to hear what you have to say.
Yeah. A great point. So you can charge debit cards a higher price on dual pricing. You can't on surcharging. Surcharging is when they add a fee to the price for using a credit card. It's not available in many states, it's illegal in many states, and you can't charge the increase on a debit card. So if they say, hey, because you're using a credit card, we're adding a fee, they can't do that on debit cards. Can only do it on credit cards. Debit cards are treated like cash. But on dual pricing, it's legal and compliant to have a card price and a cash price. Card price can be higher. So it depends on whether they're using dual pricing or surcharging. Surcharging, they can't do dual pricing. You can charge a higher price on a debit card.
Don't they need to let us know? I thought you said they would need to let the folks know
Yeah.
what the card price is.
You need to show both prices. You either need to advertise the card price or show both.
Okay, they did not. So that
Yeah.
stated, do you think I should turn around and go for them? They're a seasonal business.
Yeah, we did a training in this in a while back of how to approach someone who's violating. So I'll just give you the real quick, you'll probably remember that, but I'll give you the real quick skinny on it. I would at this point, because you don't want to be offensive and be a know-it-all, it depends on how busy, but I would ask them, how do you know your processor, by the way? Is it a family member or friend? Because you're going to tenderly tell them they're violating the current, you're going to let them know I'm in payment processing and there's been some changes. And I don't think your agent's updated you. How do you know them? Oh, it's my son. I don't know him. Oh, you don't know them? I want to bring to your attention. Now, if it's their son, their daughter, their warm market, you may want to reach out to them because there's been some updates and you're violating them right now. And that's the space I'm in. I mean, I'm happy to help you, but obviously it's your son. So, um, but if they don't know the person, oh, because I hate to say this, but I'm in payment processing, and actually, there's been a lot of rule changes, and you're able to charge a different price between cash and credit, but you actually have to show the card price. You're not. Your menu shows the cash price. So what you're doing is called surcharging. And if you're surcharging, meaning adding a fee, which you can do, you can have a cash price and then add a fee. That's called surcharging. But many states, that's not legal. And you can't do it on debit cards. So then you, in your case, you'd be able to say, so what you're really doing is surcharging. I would learn if surcharging is available in your state, first of all. Um, but what you're doing is surcharging. And because I use a debit card, you can't do that actually. So I'm happy to talk to you because I'd hate for a secret shopper to come in here from Visa and shut you guys off because you're violating Visa rules right now. And this is what I do. I'd be happy to help you out, move you to fully compliant. Um, so that's how I'd address it. I'd ask how they know them, and if they know them, I'd say you may want to get with them because you're out of compliance with the rule changes. It's what I do. I'm happy to help you, but you may want to get a hold of them. And then I'd put on your follow up to reach back to them 2 days later and say, did you talk to them? Because I can help when you're not in their store and you're not, you could say a little more on the voicemail. Hey, I'd hate to see your Visa shut down. You can't say that when you're eating your ice cream and they're taking care of another customer. You could just mention it to them or get their card and follow up. But I tenderly let them know their agent's screwing up and I want to know who it is before I don't want to offend them if they know the person. And at the same time, I don't want to not protect them because they could get shut down. There are secret shoppers.
Gotcha. Thank you much.
Thank you.
I've got a quick question from the chat. This is Morgan.
Go ahead, Morgan.
Someone asked if we can pitch this to the city for water expenses.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've got, I shouldn't say we, but our partners have prisons for the phone calling, credit cards, kiosks in prisons, kiosks in government offices. Yeah, absolutely. If someone takes Visa, MasterCard, we can help them. Now, just know going in, you're talking about very, very low pricing, and not all of our processors can do it and compete. But the answer is going to be yes to every type of processing. That's what we're going with. That doesn't mean we can't get everyone approved, but rather than having a, well, if then on every, like, if then, can we do online? Can we do online bookstores? Yeah, if, blah, 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 then yes. But there's a lot of if this, then no. I mean, and that's every business out there. So the answer is always going to be yes. We can get, if there's credit card, if they're taking credit cards, we can help them. It may have to go international, like CBD stores at one point, we're all international. But if they're taking credit cards, we can help them.
All right, and we have Harlequin has her hand up, so you can go ahead and unmute yourself, Harlequin.
Hey, David.
Hi, Harlequin. How are you?
I'm doing fabulous.
Good.
My question is this. You said, to find out if our state does the dual pricing or cash discounting
Surcharging.
or
They
surcharging.
all do dual pricing, but surcharging, some states it's illegal.
Okay. Where do we go to find out if our
I would
state
just do a Google search, a surcharging legal in my state because it's changing. We're not publishing a list because we're not going to be liable for the changes because there's not. So I would just go do a search on the internet. Is surcharging legal in my state? And look up Visa. Visa will tell you.
Okay. Yeah,
All
because
right.
you can't always trust what you find on the internet sometimes.
Sure. Absolutely.
They may be behind on their list.
Yeah,
So,
that's why I'd go to Visa. I'd go to Visa
okay.
direct. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. And sorry that we don't have a direct link to it. I suppose we could get a direct link to it and put it somewhere, but we're just leading with dual pricing. We don't lead with surcharging. We don't even do it because it's going to change more, and it's not the right way of doing it. You don't add a fee, and plus you can't do it on debit cards. So it's like now the staff better know whether it's a debit card or credit card, and unless they got equipment that knows that, now you're violating it anyway, even if it is legal. So we don't even sell it. But yeah, that's where I'd go to check. Any other questions from anybody? McGuire's got his hand up. Go ahead, McGuire.
I just want to jump in and say very powerful training today. Didn't have any questions, but I just wanted to wrap up by saying tonight we have our wonderful Wade Cordell and Nick DeHame. So for everyone that's on here, I know I'm trying to fill the room as much as I can tonight. So keep that in mind and let's pack the room tonight. I know they're going to do an amazing job. So can't wait.
Amen. Amen. Right on. More agents. Can always use more agents. All right, guys, we're out. God bless you all. Jose, you missed the timing. Got to come on earlier.